The theme of our meditation this week is falling leaves. And I'd like to begin our meditation with a quote. It is: Notice how the trees do not cling to their leaves. Fall is about releasing the old to make way for the new. Fall is about releasing the old to make way for the new. And I just love this quote. Nature truly has so much to teach us if we just listen and observe. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about the process of how the leaves change in the autumn. So, our trees use sunlight and combined with water, chlorophyll, and carbon dioxide, it creates oxygen and glucose. And this process that I just described is something known as photosynthesis. And what it does is it gives the trees the food that it needs to grow. And then during the autumn, the trees begin to recognize this reduction in sunlight, right? Our days begin getting shorter, our evenings begin to get a little bit longer, and the trees recognize this. And because of the limited sunlight, the trees stop photosynthesizing. And so the leaves that were used to both capture sunlight and to capture carbon dioxide are no longer needed by the tree. They're no longer useful to the tree. And so, without the presence of chlorophyll, these magnificent colors that we tend to love in the fall, or at least many of us do, begin to emerge. And these trees change these magnificent colors of vibrant reds and oranges and crimsons, varying hues before they let go, before the leaves let go of their attachment to the tree and gracefully fall to the ground. So maybe now, when the leaves are beginning to change their colors into these magnificent hues and varying shades, it's probably a good time. It is a good time to take a look at our own lives and to see if there are parts of ourselves that we're putting energy into that no longer serve us well. We can ask ourselves, should we be directing our attention to other areas of our life? And should we leave certain parts of our lives to the winter when we hibernate? It's a good time to ask these questions. In our lives and nature, right? We're constantly moving through various cycles. Right? Our lives are cyclical, and things that occur in nature are cyclical. And so now really is a great time to identify things that are no longer necessary to our growth, right? And it's a great opportunity to redirect our energy to parts of us that really sustain us and parts of us that need some support for us to grow. So, as we can learn from the trees around us, it's important to be able to let things go. Fall, again, is a great time to let go of what is no longer serving us. And we can cultivate this attitude of letting go. We can cultivate this attitude of non attachment. So, in our meditation practice, we intentionally put aside our tendency to cling to some aspects of our experience, right? Rather than clinging to it, we try to let it be. And we do the same with rejection, right? Rather than rejecting something or pushing it away, again, we try and let it be in our meditation practice. And so, letting go is a way of accepting things just as they are, and this truly makes room for new possibilities. It allows new possibilities to emerge. And if we can't let things go, can we just let them be? Right? Can we just let them be how they are in this moment, even just for now? And John Kabat-Zinn has a really wonderful quote that I'd like to share with you. So he says, "It's not a matter of letting go. You would if you could. Instead of let it go, we should probably say, let it be." So if we can't let go of an experience, and can we just then let it be without attaching to it? And we can cause ourselves a lot of undue stress in our lives by clinging to things that we like, by clinging to things that we want or need. We also cause ourselves a lot of undue stress by avoiding, pushing away things that we don't like, pushing away things that we don't want or need, right? We can get so attached to different ideas or certain outcomes, right? We sometimes think this must happen or this must not happen, right? And we take ourselves on this unnecessary emotional roller coaster by doing this. But mindfulness really helps us to loosen the grip. And it does this by having us invite an acceptance of things as they are. Again, in doing so, we make room for new possibilities to emerge. So today, just as the leaves are beginning to prepare to let go, we too will practice letting go. And if we can't let go, that's okay, but we will try to just let it be, even just for now. And so, with that, I'd like to invite you to move into our formal meditation practice by finding a comfortable posture, whatever that might mean for you in this moment or this morning. And there's an invitation to close the eyes or soften the gaze, using this as a way to tune inward. And then taking a moment to notice the feet making contact with the floor, perhaps sensing into this contact, this connection with the earth beneath the feet. And likewise, now notice the sits bones resting on the seat beneath you, perhaps feeling supported or held by the seat in some way. Maybe there's a comfort in this. And if you'd like, if it feels right, just finding a little extra length in the spine, reaching through the crown of the head. Maybe shrugging the shoulders up toward the ears and releasing them back down to the sides of the body, opening up the chest and the heart space. Maybe you would like to even invite a softening of the forehead or a slackening of the jaw if that feels right. And perhaps as you continue to settle into this meditative posture, you begin to notice the fact that the body's breathing and maybe noticing how the body's breathing all on its own without any need to do anything. And so now just gently resting the awareness on the breath in the body. Noticing one breath in and one breath out. Another breath in and another breath out. And continuing to follow the breath in this way. Doing the very best that you can to stay with the breath, breath by breath and moment by moment. And as we continue to follow the breath, at some point the mind will surely wander because that's just what our minds do. But as you notice that the mind has drifted off into thought, story, to do list, just gently bringing the mind back to the breath in the body once again, using the breath in the body as a way to anchor us into the present moment. So, continuing to ride the waves of the natural breath cycle. This ebb and flow, the breath. Just following each breath all the way to the end. Just continuing to stay with the rhythm of your own breath cycle. Just noticing how the breath is coming into and out of the body. Just letting the body and the breath in the body breathe you. And maybe noticing now where it is in the body that the breath is felt the most vividly. So perhaps that's the belly, maybe it's the chest, maybe it's in the throat. So just noticing where it is in the body that the breath can be felt the most prominently, and resting the awareness here. And now broadening your field of awareness to include all sensations in the body, including the breath. So, broadening the field of awareness to include all of the sensations that can be felt and noticed in the body right now, in this moment. And perhaps as you do this, you notice the tension in the body, maybe feeling some tension in the neck or shoulders, maybe in the facial muscles. And just perhaps breathing into these areas of tension, seeing if it's possible to breathe into these areas of tension that can be felt in the body and invite a softening. And now I'd like to invite you to reflect on and think about what it means to let go and what it means to let be. What does it mean to let go or let be? And now I'd like you to call to mind an instance recently where you were either holding on tightly to how you wanted something to be, so perhaps you were really clinging to it, or thinking of an instance where you were pushing away something unwanted. So, a situation perhaps that you were rejecting or pushing away or didn't want to occur. Maybe you were even resisting something that had already happened. So, calling such an instance to mind, again, an instance where you were clinging on to something that you wanted or pushing away something that you didn't want. And as you choose something, I invite you to begin really reflecting back on this experience and calling to mind as many details about this experience as possible. So, where were you? Who were you with? What were the feelings that arose when you clung to or resisted the experience? And so, just reflecting on this, maybe there were feelings of wistfulness or yearning or mourning if you were clinging tightly to something. Or maybe if you were resisting something, there were feelings of frustration or anxiety, fear or anger. So just continuing to reflect on the details, particularly the feelings that emerged from the experience. And as you continue to reflect on this, also now include how it felt in the body. So, was there tension in the body? If so, where? Where was there tension and what did it feel like? Maybe, it was a pit in your stomach. Maybe it was a tightness in the chest, a lump in your throat, a headache. So, just seeing if it's possible to revisit the nature of the experience, those feelings, emotionally and physically in the body. And now, perhaps inviting a sense of letting go, seeing if it's possible to let go. And as you attempt to do this, as you try to let go, maybe it's not possible, and that's okay. But maybe it's possible to just let it be. Can you just let it be? and noticing what happens when you begin to make space for the experience to be just as it is. And know that the mind and the body, they don't know the difference if it's actually happening now or if it actually happened some other time. So, thinking about it again can conjure up some of the same feelings that you experienced when this situation happened. And it's possible to try and loosen your grip now of wanting things to be a certain way. Remembering that we can always invite this idea of letting it be. If it's a struggle, if it's challenging to let it go, right? Can we just let it be in this moment? Can we allow some space? And remembering that in this space, something new might arise. Maybe we have an opportunity to view things differently, to be more creative. And now, just allow yourself to feel into the sensations associated with letting something be just as it is, just for now. How is it allowing this sense of spaciousness around it? How is it to hold whatever it is that you clung to or resisted and just be with it? And taking a moment now to notice, has there been a shift in how you relate to this experience? And if there was, simply being aware of what it felt like, what it feels like, and just continuing to stay tuned into whatever arose and whatever is here right now, whether there was a shift or not. Just continuing to allow yourself to be with this experience just as it is. Just breathing with what is here right now in this moment. And know that you can always return to this at a later time if you wish to come back and explore this further. But for now, just releasing this experience of clinging or resisting and allowing it to recede in the background. And I'm going to read us a poem called Song for Autumn by Mary Oliver. In the deep fall, You don't imagine the leaves think how comfortable it will be to touch the earth instead of nothingness of air and the endless freshets of wind. And don't you think the trees themselves, especially those with mossy, warm caves, begin to think of the birds that will come, 6, a dozen, to sleep inside their bodies? And don't you hear the goldenrod whispering goodbye, the everlasting being crowned with its first tuffets of snow? The pond vanishes, and the white field over which the fox runs so quickly brings out its blue shadows. And the wind pumps its bellows. And at the evening, especially, the piled firewood shifts a little, longing to be on its way. And when you're ready, allowing your eyes to open. And I'd like to leave you with an invitation for the week, and that is to notice when you're clinging to something or resisting something, and seeing if it's possible in that moment to let it go. And if it's not, seeing if it's possible to just let it be, just as it is in the moment. And as you do this, see if there's new possibilities that emerge. See what happens when you invite this experience to just be as it is and allow it to just be as it is. So, I'd like to wish you all a very wonderful week. It's been such a pleasure practicing with you this morning. Be well and take good care. One last quick reminder, we do have upcoming 8-week courses. We have an MBSR course beginning as well as an MSc course, which delves deeply into the topics of mindfulness and self compassion. And we hope that you'll consider joining us in these. All right, everyone. Thank you for your practice. Take good care. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.